So, hopefully you can see my screen. And tonight's session, oh, thanks, Lorraine. Tonight's session is all about mastering your own mindset. And do you know what? Mindset is super important for your personal life and your professional life. And I'd really like to help you in this session just to gain a little bit more understanding on really how powerful it can be if you have an impact on your mindset. And I also want to share a couple of really useful tools that can help you to do it. So my plan is to cover off understanding mindset, some common mindset blocks, some really practical strategies to help you shift your mindset, and also an opportunity for you to make personal commitment. So, just in case you don't know me, my name's Nichola McLeod. I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, and a team builder, and I really enjoy helping people to reach their full potential. So, let's kick off with a little bit of theory. And I've kind of picked on a little bit of work from a lady called Carol Ware. She's a psychologist at Stanford University, and she introduced this concept of fixed mindsets and growth mindsets, and how they help to, how they're different rather in people's motivation and their success. So people with a fixed mindset tend to believe that their abilities, that they're intelligent, even their talents are innate, that they're actually unchangeable, that you've got what you've got, you are who you are, and there's nothing that's going to change you. That's why I picked this little picture of the person stuck in the jar. Like, it's almost like, look, this is my world, this is what I was given. I'm just not feeling capable of being able to change. And because of that, people with a fixed mindset tend to avoid challenges because they have this really big fear of failure. Like it's not even worth trying, really. Um, if they see other people succeeding, it just feeds that self-doubt, really, of, well, I've never been able to do that. And I picked this one out because I actually use it all the time. Because I really want you to get that I'm not coming from a perspective here where, like, I'm perfect. One of my things that I say all the time, I just can't spell. And that is a super fixed mindset where I've made a decision. I don't believe it's possible to change. And any time that anybody gives me any feedback, like, I just think it's highlighting the fact that I'm really, really useless at spelling and I know I can't change it. So I thought, like, sharing a practical example of something from myself might help you to maybe identify the areas that you have more of a fixed mindset. So the flip side of that is always going to be a growth mindset. And a big part of a growth mindset is embracing the fact that to master something, it's going to require quite a bit of effort. And I think that's the bit that maybe is a bit of a fallacy, that people who are good at doing things or capable of doing things, well, they're just naturally like that. And it's not the reality, really. In order for somebody to be able to master something, they tend to, like, put an awful lot of practice and repetition over and over again to get really good at something. To get lots of input from other people. They have loads of failures and mistakes in order to get better. Growth mindset is about this belief that you can be developed, that you can improve. But if you put that effort in, then you can become a master of something. And instead of taking that constructive criticism as a something to make you doubt yourself even more, you see it as an opportunity to grow. And other people's successes inspire you to think, well, if that person can do it, then maybe with practice, maybe I can learn to do it. It's kind of comes summed up in the phrase that I've put there. I can get better with practice. But you'd be surprised how much your mindset shapes what you do, your actions, your resilience, and your long-term success in things that you do. I've got brilliant news for you. The best news ever. Mindsets aren't like set in stone. You are able to train yourself to shift from a fixed to a growth um, mindset. It is possible through conscious effort to work on the way that your brain thinks. And if you're like, nah, that won't work, it's a symptom of a fixed mindset. It honestly is. I mean, I used to beat myself up that if I couldn't do something really well, like on the first go, then basically I wasn't meant to do it. It prevented me from trying new things as well. I found myself saying, I just don't know how to do that, or I won't be any good at that. That was before I started my own journey of self development and realized that every person that tries to do something new sucks at it. And that's when I started to realize, do you know what? I can suck at things too. So actually, the starting point is sucking at things. And the first time you do something, you're gonna, and it's embracing the fact that it will feel uncomfortable, but you probably won't be competent at it. Putting that bit of effort in, keeping on sucking at it, you find with time that you do get better. I found when I reached out to people who'd already got better and asked their advice, got them to share their journey, some of it made me feel really good of like, oh, right, you've been here in this sucky place. That's great. I also became absolutely best friends with Google and YouTube. And I can't recommend the tools that the internet has to offer enough to you. Anytime I don't know how to do anything, I literally type it into Google or YouTube. There's always somebody who's made a video on it, who's only happy to help you out with a bit of advice. I found that there was a whole new world of opportunity opening up. I genuinely believe now that I can become good at anything if I practice enough. And I guess that's another topic altogether on whether I want to do it enough to put the practice in to become good enough at it. But I do have a belief that's actually possible. So we've got this concept of a fixed and growth mindset. I wanted just to chat a little bit about other mindset blockers that stop us from doing the things that we're capable of doing. And I've pulled out sort of probably the four that I come across the most. And we're just going to have a quick look at each of them in turn. While I'm doing that, have a little think if any, or perhaps all of them, resonate with you. And I think the first one has to be imposter syndrome. If you've not heard of it before, it's about not only feeling that you're not good enough, even worse, that people may find out and they might point and laugh at you, saying, she's not good enough to be that. You just don't feel like you belong in a place of success, that's not you. You feel like you're a complete imposter, as it says on the tin. And this can really block you from reaching your full potential. Another one, fear of failure. And it's when all of your thoughts are focused on the possibility of failing, that voice inside of your head that has that conversation with you. And it says things that, you know, all of those thoughts, their emotions are attached to failing before you've even started. And you feel so strongly about those emotions that you don't start because you've convinced yourself that you're going to fail before you even get there. And as we look at ways to shift your mindset, I want you to remember this, that your mind has convinced you that you can't do something. Your mind can also convince you that you can. It's such a powerful tool if you harness it in the right direction. Negative self-talk. Oh my goodness. I mentioned it already. That voice inside of your head. You know that internal dialogue, the one that mutters away to you? You're not insane. It's just your internal dialogue. But you'll find that you say things to yourself that you wouldn't say out loud to another person. Like, you'd be cruel if you said those things to another person. I don't know why you're bothering to try. You won't succeed at this. You're useless. You say that to another person. But people with a negative self-talk say that to themselves all the time. And they'll wonder why they don't want to give it a go with that dialogue going on. been there with that voice in my head, and I didn't want to attempt anything. Last one, limiting beliefs. And this is your subconscious creating stories that we've started to believe I'm not talented enough to do that. The one I gave as an example, well, I just can't spell. So because I've decided that there's a limit there, then it's not possible for me to even contemplate making a difference. And I'd like you just to have a little think about the cost of staying stuck. What have these mindset blockers already kept you in the past? They're opportunities that you've missed, your happiness, growth. What's it going to continue to cost you if you don't shift that mindset? It absolutely does hold you back. And if I could replace this mindset with one empowering belief for you, what would that be? Have a think about what that would be. I'll give you some examples on these four that we've got on the screen. For an imposter syndrome, replacing those thoughts with, I'm not an imposter, earned my place here. That fear of failure. Failure's feedback. Every step I take is progress. It's not a failure if I keep going. Negative self-talk. If you find that voice inside of your head saying something particularly negative, ask what your best friend would say in response to that. And limited beliefs. Thinking about, I'm capable of learning with practice to do most things. And I know that this sounds like really simple, but I want to share with you in the second part of this call some real practical strategies that you can follow. So we've identified how mindset can impact you. And I can see from the chat box that some people are saying, oh, all of these, yeah, I've experienced that. But the rest of the session needs to be about equipping you with some practical things that can help you to either alter or even manage your own mindset. Now, as we go through these, if your immediate reaction is, well, that won't work for me, that's a really big clue that you've got a bit of a fixed mindset going on there. I would actively encourage you to give some of these things a go before making your mind up on whether it would work for you, because it is the only way that you can discover that. So let's jump in. The first strategy is it works, and I have a absolute soft spot for Winnie the Pooh. Absolutely adore all things Winnie the Pooh because there are some incredible quotes within the stories. If you're stuck in that trap of what if I fail, what if this goes wrong, then you're probably going to be feeling a lot of self-doubt. You'll probably find yourself procrastinating and hesitating. The what if it works strategy is just a technique to flip those negative thoughts into a more positive type of thinking. And yeah, we do just want to trick your mind because your mind has tricked you into thinking that you can't do this. Opening your whole thought process up to the fact that your mind plays tricks on you every single solitary day helps you to be able to actually work with your mind and get your mindset in the right place. We want to shift your focus here from fear to excitement. And it's gonna start you with your brain to start to expect some more positive outcomes instead of just looking for the negative ones. In turn, that's going to motivate you to take some actions. So it's a bit of homework, a takeaway for you. I'd suggest that you take one thing that you've been holding back on, that you've not been doing, and take a moment to write down what your main fear is about that. And then challenge that fear by writing down the answers to three questions. Okay. What if it actually does work? What if it turns out better than I ever imagined it could? What new opportunities could this open up for me? Commit to taking one small action because fear makes us focus on what could go wrong. Greatness happens when we start asking, what if it could work? So that's our first one. The next one, take action despite the fear. This is that classic, feel the fear and do it anyway. Great way to start doing this is to find one small thing that you've avoided and make it happen. And I absolutely promise you, the euphoria that you'll feel is sensational and it's going to provide evidence and encouragement for you to do more. Don't, piece of advice, don't try and do something massive that you've been scared of. Pick something small, take small steps to begin with because they build on each other as your set starts to shift. So just remember there's a compound effect with building on those small steps. Try something small that you think does scare you, but maybe is something that you could tackle this week. And even though you're scared, do it and see the feeling that you get. The other one I wanted to share with you, it, this is one that I find really, really useful. Zooming out, I call it the helicopter view, which is why I've picked a picture of a helicopter there. So often our problems that are making our minds go into themselves feel absolutely enormous when we're stuck in them. And this technique helps you to detach from the negativity so you can see the bigger picture, which is why I like the helicopter kind of view. So if you're feeling overwhelmed about something, try zooming out with the following questions. Is this going to matter in a week, in a month, in a year? Even though it matters right now to me, and you're not diminishing that, how are you going to feel about this particular thing on the scale of where you are right now, in a week, in a month, in a year? Gives you a little bit of perspective there. While you're thinking ahead like that, take a moment to look from that future point and see how you'll look back at this moment. Sometimes it can really help you to be able to find that courage to do the things that are stopping you from actually making some progress. And one of my favorite ones is, what advice would I give to one of my friends who found themselves in the same situation? So I bet you're all brilliant at advising friends who aren't stuck inside of their heads. So you're not emotionally attached to that problem. What we're trying to do here is detach you from the short-term frustration and help you to make a decision from a place of clarity. And anyone who's worked with me knows that one of my favourite ones that I use, which is all about this technique, is, are you going to die? And 9 times out of 10, well, no, actually, 99,000 times out of 10 million, the answer is no. I've yet to have somebody who says, actually, yeah, what I'm thinking of doing could kill me. And it's just that reality check of, actually, what's the worst case scenario here? I might not have immediate success. It's not a reason not to start doing something. So I've got a couple more really good ones to share with you, okay? Evidence bank. I think about piggy banks a lot in loads of different scenarios. But again, think we doubt ourselves, especially when we're overwhelmed, because we're thinking of what we've already achieved. And you've achieved massive things already. I know you have. This technique is about training your brain to collect proof of your strengths. So actual evidence. Some suggestions starts with a win and strength journal, book, a Word document, even your phone, a note on your phone. But actually write down every time you overcome a challenge, you get a compliment, you achieve something, write it down. And when that self-doubt creeps in again, open that book, that document up and read it. Remind yourself with concrete evidence what you're actually capable of. This is going to help to rewire your brain to see yourself as the strong, resilient, capable person that you are with an epic growth mindset. Now, even though I've suggested like getting a journal, it's never worked for me. Um, different things will work for different people. So I wanted to share with you what I actually use as my journal because it really, really works for me. So these are random photographs that are taken of the inside of my cabin where I am right now. So you have this nice clear view of the fairy lights and the pretty things on the walls. What I'm looking at in front of me and to the side of me here is what you can see on those photographs. So while you're looking at this, I hope, serene view behind me, I'm looking at masses of evidence that I rock. And that really helps me when I'm feeling nervous, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I'm doubting if I'm capable of doing something. It really, really helps me to go, well, hello, look at all these things around me. So, whatever technique you want to use, book a note, a digital tool, or something physical like the state of my cabin, go for it because it'll really, really make a difference. I also wanted to talk about daily mindset rituals. And I know that some of you may read through this list and think, what a load of mumbo jumbo. It's fine. Just remember fixed mindset, growth mindset. Give them a go and see what suits you and what doesn't suit you. There are so many different techniques out there. I find that surrounding myself with positive quotes and affirmations, things to be grateful for, it grounds me and stops my mind running away and thinking negative thoughts that stop me from reaching my potential. So have a go at visualizing something. Try practicing some gratitude, which is just taking a moment out to think things that I'm actually really bloody grateful for today. Um, Power poses, I've given them a go. You do look like a bit of a fool. You really, really do. But it is a case of like standing with your hands on your hips, or doing a Superman pose and stuff like that. You really look like an idiot. You will be amazed at the difference that it makes to how you feel compared to like a slumped, like in kind of pose. It makes a massive difference. So even though you might be thinking over my dead body, I do think they're worth a try because you might be pleasantly surprised. And I'm going to finish off this session with one last one, which is affirmations. These are positive statements can help you to rewire your mindset by reinforcing beliefs that really support growth and success. If you've never used them before, I really do imagine that you'll think it's a load of mumbo jumbo. Our brains are so powerful and they actually believe what we tell them because that's what gets you to believe that you can't do something. You have no evidence that you won't be hugely successful other than what your brain has told you. Therefore, you can tell your brain how to think. So, how do you use them? The first thing is they've got to be believable. Um, there's no point in me saying, I'm a supermodel, but because it's not believable. So instead of things like I will become successful one day, it's thinking about wording it as I am becoming more successful each day. You want to attach an emotion because our brains really do go into like it's like sport mode when they've got an emotion attached. Um, Something like I'm grateful for my progress, having that emotion attached to the phrase will make a difference. You've got to repeat them consistently. Commit to saying them out loud each day. And yeah, I honestly do mean out loud. You will be amazed the difference saying them out loud makes. If you want to go to like the next level, say them out loud every day, write them out every day, record them and listen back to them. Try and pair an action with your statement. And Taking actions is so important. Just saying it isn't enough. You're going to need to make a change as well. But if you say some of these phrases, you will be surprised at the actions that you feel capable of taking. If you feel really uncomfortable at the thought of doing this, I'd just ask you to pause a moment. Think about where you are right now. Is it where you want to be in your personal life and your professional life? That's what you've been doing, been helping so far. If not, be really, really brave and try something new. Feel that pain and do it anyway. I have been using affirmations for probably coming up to 30 years. And I have to say, when I first started using them, I felt like the biggest prat ever. With practice, you don't feel like a brat, which is useful. But you realize that you are in charge of the way that your mind thinks. It isn't set in stone. You can rewire your brain. So I thought I'd give you a couple of really good examples, really strong examples. I am becoming more confident every day. Can you imagine getting up every morning, looking at yourself in the mirror? See, I said out loud, and now I've involved a mirror. Ah, taking it to the next level. I am becoming more confident every day. I am becoming more confident every day. Every setback is just a stepping stone to success. You get up in the morning and you're thinking about all the things that went wrong yesterday, and you get up and you say, every step back is just a stepping stone to success. I am open to new ideas and experiences. So if you've identified with that fixed mindset, last one is superb to say, because if your brain starts to hear this frequently, you will find a new experience coming along and you will find yourself saying, I'm really open to this. Where did it come from? It's amazing how you can get yourself to shift your thoughts. So just to summarize, really, have a think. Pop it in the chat if you want to. If you're not comfortable putting it in the chat, it's absolutely fine. What's one mindset shift that you feel that you could commit to today? So, like I said, it can just be something that you've put down personally for yourself. You don't have to share it, but if you feel comfortable, do. I've also got a free PDF I'd love to share with you that goes into a lot more detail on how to use affirmations effectively. So if it is something that interests you, please drop me an email, nicola@beautyofsuccess.co.uk, and I will whiz that across to you this week so that you've got it and you can start working on it. And next Monday's session is going to be confidence unlocked. So loads of people say to me, oh my God, you're such a confident person. I want to share with you some of the things that can help you to feel more confident and to appear more confident. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you got value from it. I will be popping a recording out tomorrow. So if you want to go back, if you want to take any photos of anything, then you'll be able to do that. Have a lovely rest of the evening. Like I said, thank you so much for joining and take care, everybody. Bye.